next little chain I'm going to show you is a peyote chain, and I'm going to be using bugle beads. Now you can use a bugle bead of any length, but these ones are 9mm, and the beads here that I'm using are a size 10. So what I do is I pick up, to start with, 2 of the size 10, 1 bugle, and then 2 more of these lovely, now these are silver lined crystal, they're really nice little beads. So I've got my stopper bead in place, and I've left myself enough thread on the end so I can bring in a clasp later on. The first thing to do is we're going to do a peyote stitch. I'm going to pick up another size 10. I'm going to miss this first bead here. He's stuck. There he is. I'm going to miss this first size 10 bead, and I'm going to go through the second one. I'm going to go through there, and then I pull. If you hold your finger where it goes, you keep your tension and you'll stay in place. And then when I pull it up, the 2 beads will sit, if they behave themselves, nicely side by side, just like that. Then I'm going to take my needle through the bugle bead, straight through, and bring that through. And then I can pull up for a bit of tension then too, to make these 2 beads sit nicely. And then pick up another size 10. Now I'm coming out of the bugle. I'm going to miss this bead and go through the next. So I'm going around this bead, and I'm going to go through the next one. And then again, pull that up. And as I said, look, if you just put your finger on it, it tends to keep everything all nicely in place. And so now these 2 beads are also sitting. I mean, the bugle's in the stopper's in the way a little bit, but you can see that they're sitting side by side, and I've got my end. So now what I'm going to do, as in normal peyote stitch, I'm going to turn the work over, and I'm going to work back down in this direction. So I pick up a size 10. I'm going to go through this bead, and I'm also going to go back through that bugle bead again and come out at the end and pull it up. And you'll see now I've got 2 nicely placed beads at this end, and you can see that I've got 2 at the top, so what we need here is another bead. So if I just pick up a bead and go through this end bead, so now I've come back on that side. So now it's time to come back again, so we flip the work over, this time I'm going to pick up a bead because I'm doing my peyote stitch each end, come around this bead and through this one here and pull it up. So that now I've got 3 in place on the bottom. It's time to pick up, if I can hold the needle, yes, it's time to pick up a bugle bead, and then another seed bead, and I'm going to go through this fellow here on the end. So I'll just go straight through there and pull that up. And if I put it down, you can see now I've got 2 of them sitting nicely side by side, and I've got my peyote stitch on the end. So again, turn it over to come back, and just like we did before, pick up 1 bead, miss this bead, go through this bead and the tube, all the way up through the tube and come out. The tube gives you something to hang on to, which is quite good actually. Then again, I just add on 1 bead and through the end. And pull that up too. So flip it again, and I come back the other way, and this time I pick up the bead just like we did before. So there's two different passes. So around here, through here, so now just like before, I pick up a bugle bead and a size 10, and I'm going to go straight up to that end, size 10, and right through until it pops into place. So then now we can turn it over, and I'll just do one more pass each way so that you've got it. So this time I don't have to add the tube, so I just add the bead. I go around here through the tube, add a bead through the end, turn it over, pick up a bead, go around this bead, through this bead, take it through, pick up a tube and a seed bead, oh, I've got two there, and a seed bead, and go through this end bead. So that's the repeat, and you just continue on and on and on, making your nice chain. I've come to the end of my peyote bracelet, and I thought I would show you how to put a clasp on the end. Now you need to be ending on a row where you would add in another bugle bead normally. So I'll begin the row as normal by adding one bead and going through the end bead here to complete this peyote stitch here. Now what I need to do is I need to cover this distance. I'm going to do it with seed beads, and I've worked it out that you need 6 with these particular beads. But if you've got a different size bead, what you do, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is just line them up beside the tube, and then you can see, oh yes, that's a good fit, so that's how many beads I need. Now I also need one more bead here to complete the peyote stitch at this end, so one more bead and then through here. Now you can see that gives me a row of beads along the edge. So now I can bring in my clasp. So I want to bring some beads coming across here and up there, so I will add 5, 3, 4, 5, and they will sit here, and then I want 2 more to come up to my clasp. So that's 1, 2. So now you're ready, you can add on whatever clasp you like. I'm going just to put a toggle on this one. So then once I've got that on, I come back through these 2 beads here. And then I'm going to now add another 5 to go down this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And now I'll bring my needle through all of these beads along here, because this will then firm all this up as well. And then I can take my time and get my tension as well. So 1, 2. So just take your time here, because it's very easy to miss a bead out. And even if you do it in a couple of goes. There's 1, and then the last 3 here. And finally the bead that was our last peyote stitch on that end. So you'll see when I pull it all up, and I'll take my time and get my tension right and get the beads up in the toggle and just take my time with it, and you'll see what I've done here at the end. Here's the other end I've finished. I've gone back and around quite a few times so that this here is now quite firm. And I've just gone, and you can see I've done quite a few threads here. So just take it back and around as many times as you possibly can, and then just, you know, take it back down through here and tie it off. And that's how I finished off this lovely bracelet. This is a variation of the peyote and bugle bead bracelet, where I'm actually doing a double one. So I've threaded on 2 seed beads, a bugle, 2 seeds, a bugle, and then 2 seeds, because each one of these 2 are going to be where my little peyote will sit. So just like I did before, pick up a bead, miss a bead, go through a bead, and pull up. Nice and tight. Go through the tube, and pull it up nice and tight so it sits nicely. See, I've got my little peyote 3 down the bottom. Pick up a bead, miss a bead, go through a bead, and I'm also going to go through the tube, so I'll do it at the same time. So there's my second one, and then finally pick up a bead, miss a bead, go through the bead. So now when I turn it over, you can see I've got my 3 separate areas ready for peyote stitch in my tube. So the next thing now is to pick up a bead, go around this bead and through this bead, and then back through that peyote tube. There we are. Just like before, but we're just adding in an extra middle one. Pick up a bead, miss this bead, go through this one and the peyote tube. If you can't do it in 2, don't worry, do it. If you can't do it in 1 go, do it in 2. Oh, bead fell off. Oh. Now, this is interesting. I'll show you this. Don't do what I do. You can try and go backwards, but you might split your thread. You can also take the needle backwards, but you might split your thread. The best thing to do really is not what I'm doing now, but is to actually undo your needle and take it off and pull it backwards. Right, so now I've picked up a bead, go through the bead, go through the tube, come out of the tube, pick up a bead and go through the end. So just like before, turn it over. So now you can see I've got my 3 little sets of peyote in the middle. So now this time, pick up a bead, go around and through, pull it up, pick up a bugle and a seed bead, go around this one and through this one, and then lastly another bugle and another seed and through this end one here. So as you can see now, I've got 2 of them set in, and especially if you want a little bit more substantial bracelet, this is a fantastic way of adding in multiples, because you can really make it for, you know, like a larger person or a lot more substantial. So that's how it is, very easy. So now we just pick up a bead and go through the tube. Pick up a bead, go through the tube. Pick up a bead, go through the end bead. Whoops. and turn it over. And so now we're back to the position where I go through a bead and add another tube. So it's quite easy and lots of fun.